I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hey everybody, this is Jason Dean with the Joe Blow Movie Network. Some of the coolest cameos in movies are the ones you don't know are coming. That's why we're here to count down the top 10 unbilled cameos. Here we go. Number 10 is Martin Sheen from Hot Shots Part 2. There is so much happening here. Charlie Sheen plays Topper Harley in the parody film, who ends up passing by his father Martin Sheen, playing his character Captain Willard from Apocalypse Now. Even stranger than that, they both starred in Wall Street together, which makes their characters' passing dialogue even crazier.
I loved you in Wall Street!
Surely Charlie talked his dad into doing this one as an unbilled cameo for an added joke to an already hilarious movie. Hot Fuzz shows up at number 9 with a couple of unbilled cameos in this one. The first one is Cate Blanchett playing a past love interest of Simon Pegg's character. You would never know it's her if you weren't looking, since she's completely covered except for her eyes. Eagle-eyed fans spotted her just from that, coupled with her voice, but even that was a bit muffled. The second cameo from this movie is Peter Jackson, who is in a blink and you'll miss it role of a perpetrator in a Santa suit stabbing Pegg in the hand. He's almost unrecognizable. Number 8 is a fun one where we see Marty McFly performing a rendition of Huey Lewis's Power of Love in the classic Back to the Future. The great thing about this scene is the person playing the judge, who seems extremely dismayed and repulsed by the performance, is none other than Huey Lewis himself, who crushes Marty's dreams of performing. It's a small role, but a fun gag for those in the know, and even better for fans of the performer who was at the top of his game at the time. Number 7 is almost too large of a role to be a cameo, but it did go completely uncredited, so it still fits our list. Anchorman stars the legendary news anchor Ron Burgundy, who is the savior of San Diego news reporting. But every protagonist has to have his villain. Wes Mantooth, the news anchor from a rival station, is played by none other than Vince Vaughn, and has a relatively beefy role for a cameo, popping up more than a few times in some incredibly quotable and memorable scenes. Number 6 is a cameo that started it all. When Marvel put forth the idea of a cinematic universe with consequences and continuing stories across multiple movies, no one thought it could be done. Iron Man was the kickoff movie and ended up being a slam dunk on so many levels. And once it was all done, we were treated to the promise of multiple heroes coming together for the Avengers Initiative. Who best to announce this than Samuel L. Jackson himself, who appeared in an uncredited role as Nick Fury at the end of Iron Man. Later, of course, that role skyrocketed far beyond a cameo and became a major recurring character in the MCU. Number 5 provided us with the proverbial passing of the torch from one legendary Hollywood heavyweight who had gone unmatched for decades to another Hollywood heavyweight who at the time of this movie was just starting to make his mark. Of course, I am talking about the single line exchange of "Have fun" from Arnold Schwarzenegger to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the beginning of the 2003 film The Rundown. The movie ended up with a reasonable cult following, though it had a mediocre release at the time. Little did anyone realize what this short scene was going to mean for Dwayne Johnson, who really is the Schwarzenegger of our time. Number 4 is such a weird one to me. Matt Damon appeared in a low-budget sex comedy back in 2004 called Eurotrip as the lead singer in a band who sings a catchy song about him sleeping with the lead character's girlfriend. Scotty Doesn't Know is one of the most memorable parts of the movie and ends up being a catchy song, not just for the audience, but also for the world within the movie, where it ends up following the lead character throughout the film. It turns out Matt Damon did the cameo as a favor to the movie's writers, all of whom he went to college with. Number 3 is going back a pretty good ways, all the way to 1991. Kevin Costner was at the top of his game and starred in the epic adventure Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. But you know who else was at the top of their game? Sean Connery. And what better way to end the movie than with a totally unexpected and uncredited cameo by Connery, who plays King Richard, making a grand entrance during the wedding of Robin Hood and Maid Marian. Connery was actually offered the role of Lord Loxley, but turned it down at the time. I guess this was his way of participating in the film after turning that role down. Number 2 is another extended cameo that people remember the movie for more than the rest of the movie. If you have ever seen Wedding Crashers from 2005, then you know it follows the misadventures of Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn crashing weddings. But those two may not be the most memorable characters, since they were both upstaged by the over-the-top character of Chaz Reinhold, played by Will Ferrell. Ferrell plays Vaughn's former eccentric wedding crasher mentor, and gives sage advice to Wilson's character, providing him the much-needed direction to bring the story to its eventual close. At number 1 is a fun cameo that ended up working on so many levels. Johnny Depp surprises everyone in a slapstick comedy reboot of 21 Jump Street as an undercover agent who reveals his true self after removing wigs and makeup. This works not just in the context of the cameo, but also in the story for the moment it happens. And of course, for those of you old enough to remember, Depp's first real big break was the lead role in the 21 Jump Street television series from the late 1980s. So the cameo's reveal was surprising, but not necessarily unexpected by the older crowd or TV show buffs for his prior involvement in the franchise. So there's our top 10 unbilled cameos. Tell us down below which one is your favorite. I'm Jason Dean for the Joe Blow Movie Network, and thanks for watching.